Hey guys, it's Len at Lionstrong Athletics. Today I want to go over a classic bodybuilding exercise for the chest. That's the dumbbell chest fly. I'm going to go over some issues people have with the exercise and how to correct those so we can maximize our growth. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment and let me know if there's any exercise you're interested in learning about. Today we're going to go over the flat dumbbell chest fly, but there are many versions of this exercise. They all kind of have the same principles, so that's why we're going to start with the flat today. This exercise is so effective because it puts the tension into a stretch of our muscle, which research shows provides a lot of muscular growth for us. So it's very effective. It's also one of the better exercises, if you're doing it correctly, at isolating our chest. So we can hit it, we can isolate it, we can get it under a stretch, force that tension to grow our muscles. And if it's done by the greatest chest of all time in Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know it's a great exercise. Let's get into the dumbbell chest fly. And we're going to go over the three main issues people have with this exercise. And I did all three wrong for years. So hopefully we can fix it for you so you don't miss out on these gains like I did. The first thing is we need to pinch our upper back anytime we're doing this chest fly. And what I mean by that is if I don't have my back pinched and I come forward, my shoulders actually can do a lot of the work for me and bringing the weight up. But if I can pinch my upper back, pull my scapula and rhomboids tight, and I keep them tight as I push my chest forward, like this, I can actually squeeze a lot of my chest. And I'll show you from the front view as well. If I don't keep it tight, see how my shoulders actually do quite a lot of the work? And if I do keep it tight, my chest does a lot of the work. Okay, so on setup especially, as we pop back into that movement, what I want you to really focus on is pinching those scapula back together so that my chest is the highest point at all times. If we don't do that, as we fly up, my shoulders will be the highest point and they're going to help us a lot with this. And this is going to reduce our isolation. So we're trying to pinch the entire time. Even as I'm coming up with this exercise, I'm keeping it pinched the whole time. The second thing that people really struggle with here is not initiating through the chest. And we're just trying to move weight for the sake of moving weight instead of contracting the muscle to move weight. What I mean by that is I'm bringing the weights down and I'm thinking about my goal being just pushing the weights up. And when you think that, often your shoulders are going to do the work for you. Or maybe your biceps are going to help. A good rule of thumb is whatever muscle you initiate with is going to take over for the rest of the movement. So what I'd like you to do is when you get into this stretch, I want you to try to contract your chest first. So this means using your brain in a static position. I'm going to try and contract my chest and then move forward and squeeze using my chest. Instead of if I just move for the sake of moving versus squeezing my chest and then moving, I'm maximizing isolation. I'm forcing my chest to take that weight for me. Okay, so how we translate that into the exercise, at the bottom, I've got a nice stretch. I'm going to contract and then bring up. And now my chest is forced to do the work first, and it keeps the tension throughout, as opposed to just moving, where honestly, I feel a lot of shoulders right now. So be sure to initiate your chest first, contract it, and then move up with your hands. And that way we can get our chest to isolate a little bit better. The last thing is tension. And I am huge on tension. If you've seen any of my videos, I focus on tension a lot. And anytime we're coming up, we're fighting the force of gravity on dumbbells. Anytime we're coming up to the top, and we have that force coming back at us like this, our chest is actually doing nothing. We're at total rest. We don't have any tension on it at all. It's running through my arm, through my humerus, into my shoulder. This is taking the force instead of my chest. The chest job is to bring something inside our body like this and stretching out. So if I have force pushing straight down, I don't have my chest doing anything. I'm going to run this through on the exercise itself. So at the top, like I just explained, I'm here. I have no weight on my chest at all. I'm in complete relaxation. It's pushing straight down. I'm not getting anything out of this. I might be able to just squeeze my chest in this portion of the exercise, and feel some kind of squeeze, but I'm not under tension for that squeeze. So what I prefer you do is go into this big stretch. I'd contract, I'd press up, and right here I still have good tension. I would not bring it any further inside because now I'm at rest, I'm not doing anything. And I learned this from the great himself. This is an Arnold Schwarzenegger move. He'd bring this up and he'd stop about here while he had tension, and he'd go back down. And this was his chest fly, and he'd get to keep in this stretch. He got to keep tension in the stretch, and he never took this rest period here where he's relaxed. This is especially true during a lightweight set and keeping tension. It's so important. Okay, so now let's run through the whole thing together. We're going to pinch our back and keep it pinched. We're going to initiate through the chest, and then we're going to keep tension. Okay, so my setup, I'm popping back. I'm going to pinch my back. I'm going to try and keep it there. I'm going to go down, initiate through the chest, tension, release. Initiate through the chest, tension, release. Keeping my back pinched the whole time, and my chest is doing all of the work. I don't feel any shoulders, which is what I used to feel for this exercise. That's why I hated it, and that's why I didn't do it. That's why I stuck to cables all the time. But now that I understand the biomechanics behind it, I can implement this great exercise into my chest day and really pump the chest up. I enjoy the stretch feeling. I enjoy how much it pumps me up, and I know that's doing great. Now I'm going to show you how to implement this into our heavy light lion way of lifting system. So I'm going to do my heavy set first. I'm not actually going to go to failure, although I want you to go to absolute failure. I've grabbed 30s. That's a decent heavy weight for me, maybe 35s. I'm going to pop it back, get into that pinch position, initiate through my chest, drive up. One thing to keep in mind is often with heavier weights, you can have a slightly larger range of motion because you can keep tension for longer. This is how I do this exercise. And I try to fail somewhere between 8 and 12 reps. I would then take a minute rest, maybe a minute and a half, whatever I feel I need to take. I want you to be ready for every set you do. You should not be tired going into it. And then I'm going to do the light set. I've grabbed 12s, and I'm going to try to focus on keeping tension with the 12s. You might notice my range of motion is just a little bit less. And that's because with the lighter weights, it's easier to lose tension. So you want to stay in a smaller range of motion when you're doing the light sets. And I would take this to failure. Hopefully I picked the right weight somewhere between 20 and 30. But if you're failing at 35, 40, or you're failing at 15, I don't care. That just means you need to adjust the weights next time to be in our recommended range of motion. But that's how you do it. One set heavy and one set light. And that's the dumbbell chest fly. Such a great, valuable exercise for keeping tension in the stretch of our chest, which is fantastic for muscle growth. I want you to remember those cues next time you're doing a chest day. It's pinch your upper back, initiate through your chest, and keep constant tension. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're looking for an online personal trainer, go to lionstrongathletics.com and get started today.